welcome back to another episode of Book Talk Author Interview. I am here tonight with author Anastasia Jackson. Hey, how's it going?
Hi, it's going good. How are you?
I'm doing great. I'm doing great. So it's so nice to meet you. This is our first time meeting, and so if you don't mind introducing yourself and telling us about who you are, and let's go ahead and jump into talking about your book.
Alrighty, so my name's Anastasia. I don't really use my last name. But my name's Anastasia. I pen under Annie B. So if you were to look for my books on Amazon, it's under Anastasia Jackson as well as Annie B. I've been writing since I was in grade school. So I wrote my very first book at 9 to 10 years old. I wrote my very first screenplay at the age of 13. And currently now I have 22 urban fiction books, one children's book, a few journals, and a bunch of other fun stuff.
Wow. Oh my gosh. Wow. So wait. Hold on. When did you get started? So you said 10 and you just been writing ever since then, or help
No,
us out.
no.
No,
So
okay.
when I first started writing, I was in fourth grade. I had a teacher, she literally gave us a blank book. Cover was blank, back was blank, inside was blank. And she's like, create a book. And once I completed that project, of course, I got an A. And I'm like, I think I'm supposed to do this. And as growing up, I just continued writing. I never published any of the work, but what makes it so crazy is I still have some of those things that I've written then. So I stopped writing. I'm like, nobody cares what I have to talk about. It's not good enough for the world. And
Mm.
in 2018, 2019, I was on maternity leave in 2018, and I was on leave for like 6 weeks, and I did not like that. 6 weeks, no, sorry, 13 weeks. I was
Oh,
so
wow.
bored, like so bored. And eventually I was going through not a great relationship. And I was just in the house and I'm like, I don't want to just sit in here. Yeah, I just had a baby. Yeah, I'm supposed to, do the mom stuff. I feel like it's more that I can be doing. And I wrote technically my first book after grade school. It's called Dear Diary. And I just kept seeing on the TV this publishing company. Don't recommend, I do not. But I took that route and I'm like, let's see if I can do this. So I ended up submitting my manuscript and everything, and they approved it. So I'm like, okay, I can do this. It's people actually like what I'm writing. Long
Mhm.
story short, I was signed under the contract with that publishing company for 2 years. I made only $5. Okay. I do not recommend, I don't. Within the 2 years of
No
me,
way.
exactly,
Oh
I
my,
made $5.
oh my.
So in the time of me waiting and just going through the process and the motions with that company, I started to do more research and do it on my own. I ended up releasing two books within that time frame that I was still with the publishing company. And once I realized it was not as hard as I thought, and I'm just like, I'm just gonna do it independently. I have to do everything, but that's fine. And once I finally got my rights back to my book, I ended up revamping the cover and everything because the cover I did not like. I didn't like anything that they did. They literally did not follow anything that I requested. And I feel like it had a lot to do with, we just gonna say demographics.
Okay. Mhm.
Yeah. So. I know that
Long
was a
dramatic pause. Yeah. Yeah. Okay.
lot. So let's see. What else did you just ask? So just in regards to me
Oh,
writing?
yeah, girl. I don't know what I asked, but we're following you though. We're following you. No, I'm shocked, but this is the thing, and I want to take just a moment because as a book publisher, man, it's so interesting for me because I'm on both sides. I publish my own stuff, but I also publish other authors' things, and the way that I'm set up, would feel terrible if the author only got $5 from their book. There's absolutely things that you can do to ensure that they get paid even before their book is published. And I'm just a one person publishing company, but I also I work with independent contractors, and so that's how I'm able to produce and do well. But man, that's crazy. But you're not the first person to say that, though. Through author interviews and just the work that I do with indie authors, I have a chance to hear about a lot of these issues, and demographics is a huge one. In fact, it's so funny you brought that up, because yesterday I was on TikTok scrolling or whatever, and I seen this Hispanic author share about a white publishing company, or no, white readers wanting black authors to share stories that are more relatable. And he was like, how funny, like what are you talking about? And I was like, oh, the wow, that's interesting, and so I mean, we can go there. Let's talk about it. What do you think?
Okay, so when you say more relatable to white people or more
Yeah.
relatable to
Uh-huh.
Hispanics? Okay,
Yeah.
so okay, I love this. So white people has taken over everything. Literally, if you go inside of the library, urban fiction has a section. Everything else is white authors. So what more should we write towards them? Nobody's even paying attention to us. Why don't we have a bunch of
Mm.
books like everybody else? It's not just white authors. So why would I cater to them when, let's use children for example. Children get children books and all they see is yellow people or animals. My children are
Yeah.
brown. Why don't they see brown children? When you go to the library, I should see brown books as well, not just during Black History Month. It matters all the time. So yeah, I
Mhm.
don't agree at all. I'm gonna continue writing urban
Yeah.
fiction, which when it's funny because I had one of my coworkers, she was like, "What kind of books do you write?" She was of different ethnicity. I'm like, urban fiction. She was like, wait, what? Don't worry about reading it. It's okay. Because you're not
Don't worry about
you're
it. Yeah.
not you're not going to understand it if you just don't, you're not going to get it. It's crazy how we can read their books and understand the concept, but if they read our books, it's not the same. It's
Yeah.
just not.
Yeah, that's interesting. And I think that's across a lot of fields, not even just book publishing, because I want to say there was a time where I was pursuing a degree in marriage and family therapy, and they were talking about cultural competence and just some of my what do you want to, my peers just did not get it. And ever since I was a child, one of the things that I hated doing was like explaining my black experience as the only black student in the class, like, hey, I'm just a variation, I'm just one of a variety. Black people come in all shapes, sizes, and colors, just like white people do, but it's a different seasoning. It's a whole different seasoning, and you either get it or you don't. And so that's I think that's how urban fiction works. You either gonna get it or you're not gonna get it. And that's okay.
Exactly.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Well, let's get into talking about your most recent book. How do you say the name? Is it Cause and Effect?
It is Cause and Effect, a collection of short stories.
Okay.
So, with this particular book, I started it in Las Vegas. And I was working as a teacher at this particular time. And I just kept getting this feeling like everything that you do, it has whatever you do, something's gonna happen, good or bad. So if you do something bad, something bad happened, vice versa. And I'm just like, okay, I got it. I'm gonna write about cause and effect. And it just didn't flow at that particular time. So I'm like, I'll stop because I'm one of those writers that do not force stories. So if I'm writing and it's
Mm,
not flowing on paper, or even if I start typing and it's not flowing, it's not meant to be written for me. I'm not sure for everyone else, but for me, I don't force stories. I don't care how many books it's out for everybody else. I'm gonna take my time
mm,
because I want it to be good. So
mm.
me and my family ended up going back home to Chicago, and life started lifing. And while it was doing that, it helped me figure out what I was missing in this story. So majority of the
Mm,
titles that's in the story is a reflection of different things that either I saw during that time or people that I came across during that time. Everything that they did during the time, I made sure, because I'm very creative with the way I twist words around. So I was very intrigued with certain stories. So, like, there's one title where it's something in the lady in the basement, different things
mm,
like that. If you weren't there, you won't get it. But if you were there and you pick up this book, you like, I know exactly what she was talking about. But because of the way the
mm.
story is twisted around, it's like, wait, but was she really talking about this particular time? So I feel like this book was just fun. If once it finally came back to the place that I needed it to get to, and once I finished it, and I'm just like, oh yeah, this one's gonna be good because it's not just one story. It's going to take you
Okay.
into a bunch of stories. Well, all my books I say that, but this one I'm just like, no, this the one. But I just finished my 22nd book, and I just said the same thing about that one as well. So
I love it. So how many books do you put out a year? Because 22, that's crazy. I'm barely at 8 and I'm thinking I'm doing something, but we're all different. But go ahead. Tell us, how did you get out 22?
okay, so I had the hard push, and when did the pandemic start?
Okay.
2020.
2020.
So 2020 is when I put out 10 books. I was in the house. I worked
Go ahead.
this particular time. I was working in banking, and of course, the bank shut down and all of this stuff. It was right around
Yeah.
the time voting stopped. Everything, it was just crazy, and I'm just like, I feel like I'm supposed to be
Dang.
doing something. And I would go to sleep at night, and I would get these different stories in my head, and I'm just like, I'm not doing that. I'm not doing that. That's not my cup of tea. It kept coming back. I ended up creating a children's
Mm,
workbook during that particular time as well. It's called Knowledge is Power, Our Children Matter. That was like
mm.
dedicated because during that particular time, the kids was out of school. And
Yeah.
I'm big on education. And I feel like those 2 years, or how many ever years the pandemic lasted, those children did not get the necessity things that they needed. And I ended up creating a workbook for my now 9-year-old son. And it worked out because
Mm.
once it was time for him to go back to school, and the teacher was like, oh, well, he's delayed in this and he's delayed in that. No, he's not. No, he's not.
Hmm.
Give me a couple of weeks and we'll figure it out. So I just let him like
Yeah.
do the different exercises that was in the workbook, and it ended up working out. So during that time, like I said, we was at home. I was in the house with 2 kids, losing my medulla. Because all they were doing were eating and just watching TV. That's it. And I'm just
Yeah.
like, no, I know I'm not supposed to be just doing this. And literally, the stories was just flowing. They were just coming
Wow.
back to back to back, all of the different titles, everything. And I'm like, oh, yeah, this is going to be great. But yep, 10 books in that one year.
Nice. See, that's what I'm talking about. I know 2020 was a good year. I'm sorry, let me fix my chair. 2020 was a good year for my business too, because a lot of people were like you, at home writing their tails off. And so that was a good year in business for me too. I know a lot of people were struggling, but that's why I always tell people, if you got a story, the best thing to do is to write it and publish it and get it done. Because I feel like, I don't know, you can share about your experience. Once you publish that first one, you kind of get that publishing bug. I call it, it's a publishing bug, and it doesn't leave you for a while. You got to it's almost like an addiction. You kind of got to shake it real hard in order for it to make it quit. And so I always tell writers that are just like, man, I'm trying to get this book done. I'm like, don't talk to me until you get that book done, because once you get it done and you get it published, oh, you're going to want to keep it up. And so, can you tell
Yep,
us
that's
about your experience? I know you shared a little bit about like your first time publishing, and then tell us what was it really like doing your second book on your own? How did that go for you?
So when I did it on my own, so that book was called The Same Guy, a Different Man. So this
Mm,
particular time, of course, everything's a particular time for me because either something happened during that time which sparked the particular title, and
mm,
I was dealing with this particular man, and I'm just like, you know what? All y'all guys is the same. Literally, there's no difference with you guys. There's nothing different. And I'm like, I feel like I should tell that story. And what makes that story so funny to me is my main character name is William. And currently, my husband name is William. And I'm like, what are the chances? I was writing about a William and I ended up with
oh
a
my
William.
God. I got something to say about that, but go ahead.
So once I started doing research, I'm a big reader and I love learning. So I just was on Google and I was just typing in whatever I wanted to look up. I ended up running into Amazon KDP. So I started there and I'm like, this seems simple. I think I can do this. And I was able to upload it and do everything that I needed to do from there. And I'm like, okay, I got this. And then on the, like I said, once the story started flowing and once I had like my process, I just kept going. There was literally no stopping from there. Even though that's when life started to twist around, which is why I ended up with 10 books and then slowly started dwindling down to less and less. And I'm just like, well, maybe it's not meant for me to
Mm,
produce 10 books again back to back. And once that time comes, then, then it's that time. But currently right now, it's like I mentally just take my time with literally everything now.
mm-hmm. Yeah, gotta pace yourself, pace yourself, pace yourself. But that's
Exactly.
awesome. But no, I was so triggered when you said William. I don't know if you see my neck twitch a little bit. I've never had a good experience, so now I'm like, I want to read your book and see what it's like. But anyways, that's wonderful. Did you what were you gonna say?
That's what makes that funny because that book is a part two. It's a two-part series, and
Mm,
William just was doing him literally, and
yep.
I'm just
Yeah,
like, bro,
that's what
I
they
got a
do.
trick for William.
I love it. I love it. I love it. Okay. What else? Let's see. Let's see. Let me get my questions out. So, any advice? So, oftentimes I hear that other independent authors will come and watch the show after it's been recorded or during the live. Any advice? What would you tell a new author who's just getting started about publishing books?
I feel like what you should do is take your time. So either if you go the traditional route,
Mm,
that's fine. I just had a bad experience, so I just don't recommend it. But take your time with making these choices because once you're locked into that contract, you're locked into that contract until it's up.
mhm,
And or if you want to go self-publishing, just be mindful that everything's on you. Your cover cost, if you're not the one
mhm.
that's creating it yourself, editing, formatting, all of these different things is now on you. So just be mindful. Yes, anybody can write a book, but should everybody write books? No. I don't
Right.
agree. Even if you put out one book and all of your family and friends is like, oh girl, oh boy, you should go ahead and keep writing. Sometimes our family be sending us on the wrong trip. So it's it's just you have to take your time before you make any choice. That's what I feel like.
Mhm. Yeah, no, I think that's some wise advice. Absolutely take your time, do your research. I want to add in there, try it, see how it goes and keep going if you want to. I know in the past I've worked with some authors on a hybrid model, so they pay me up front and I pay them on the back end higher royalty rates. And some people like it because they don't have to search for an editor, they don't have to search for someone to design their book, they don't have to get all the different people. Is all in one. But then some people like to have a little bit more control, and so if you are the type of person that you want to have control over everything, you want to oversee everything, things like that, I absolutely recommend trying self-publishing. But try it all. I'm always telling people you never know what you like until you try it. Again, I have not even again. I have a 8-year-old, and so we're at this point in her life and mine where I'm like, girl, she doesn't like nothing. But I'm like, you haven't tried nothing. Like you've literally I'm good at cooking 6 different meals because it's just her and I'm not like even myself. I'm like, okay, and if she's gonna try something different, we're gonna have to cook something different. So
Yep.
her and I are on this like, this personal growth journey where we're trying
Okay.
new foods and I'm cooking new foods. And so I tell authors all the time, just try it. If you like it, okay. If you don't like it, okay. But you did hit on a good point with traditional publishing. And sometimes what if your book doesn't sell? What if, $5, that's not a lot of money. But also you might not had to put up any money. And so you got to kind of go with the pros and the cons and see what's going to be the best fit for you. And so absolutely. Okay. Okay. What else is going on with your book? What have you had any reviews? What are people saying about it?
So for the cause and effect book, it's explosive because like I said, each story is something different. And it's like, it just makes you think a lot. Sometimes you can kind of pinpoint like, maybe this is what's going to happen, but because I am who I am, I call myself a queen of plot twists. The story will go one way. It's not going to end the way you think it is. So I love
Mm.
that about how I write. So most of my reviews state that it was explosive. I didn't see this coming, or wow. It's always literally wow. So even when I'm writing, I'm wowing myself when I'm reading it back, like, wait a minute, did I just, oh wow. I did want to go back to when you was talking about the traditional publishing and when I only made the $5, and you said with some publishing companies they put up the money first and get paid on the back end. So that's
Mhm.
what I meant to add on. So I only got paid $5, but I paid them $4,000.
Oh, wow.
Yeah,
Okay. Oh my god.
yeah, yeah.
Wow.
That was key.
Okay.
That was important. I'm glad that you made that statement in regards to paying up front
Yeah.
and getting paid up back. Yeah, no.
Okay, see, I was assuming that you didn't pay anything up front, but you paid them 4,000, you only got $5 back? Come
Yes,
on. What?
I made the news. Supposedly I was in Barnes and Noble, so I'm taking you for your word. I'm going to Barnes and Noble looking for my book. So I'm gonna reach out to my publisher. Excuse me, I don't see my book in Barnes and Noble. Oh, well, we didn't mean. Yep, I don't like it. Nope. And that's when I realized, nope, nothing. And I'm one
Yeah.
of those people. If I see something, I'm gonna say something. So I ended up finding them on Instagram, and I was going through all of their posts and pictures, and I sent them a message. So, do you only post certain people's books, or do you post everyone's book? Because I
Mm.
only see a select few books on here. Not just counting mine is not up here, but
Wow.
I only see those people books. So yeah, yep,
Mm.
that's interesting. And then now to think about it, working with a certain group of people, I did a collab book. I forget about that in my collection of 22 books. Technically, I have more than that, but I did a collab, and I think I did this in 2019, 2020. I don't remember. That's how long ago it was.
Okay.
But I just got the book in 2023. The only reason I got it was
No.
because I reached out to one of the people the one that asked me to do the book with them. And I'm like, so did you get author copies? Oh yeah, we got author copies. So was I not part of this project, or
Oh.
oh okay, yeah, just send me your address and I'll mail it to you. Why didn't you reach out prior? You know what? Don't worry about it. Send me
I don't
my
want the
book though.
invitation. Yeah.
Send me my book back, but don't worry about it.
Yeah.
You don't have to worry about me no more.
Oh my gosh. And it's
Yes.
so interesting because in just this whole topic, I know we didn't really mean to go this way, but look, we just gonna have to go this way. I don't know what it is. I don't know what it is. Some people, and it's almost like it's like a toxic relationship. You chased me down almost, and maybe this wasn't your particular situation, but I'm just talking from my experience. You chase me down. You want to work with me. Maybe I'm the, maybe I'm the chosen one on the team that you just had to have to say, well, I'm about diversity and inclusion, and so let's put you up here for a little while, but then we're going to forget about you. We're going to forget about all the promises that we made, and we're not going to keep our word because actually this was all just for looks and all for show. And so, anyways,
No, I love
we
that
get
you.
it.
I love that you went that way. So let's go.
Yeah.
Let's take a step back into the past. So this particular person started a what did she call it? I can't remember exactly. I don't want to say a podcast because I don't think it was a podcast. It's like a show or something where we were live like we are now. And I'm like, she reaches out and she's like, oh my goodness, I just love you. Like she was really on my back extreme. And I'm just like, oh, well, I look like I got a fan. I like this. So cool. So she's like, can we work together on the show? Blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, yeah. So mind you, I'm getting all of my author friends that I know to participate in the show. And as time progressed, I ended up either not being able to be on the show or something happened. And then I think I reached back. No, I didn't even reach back out yet. I ended up getting an email stating that I was removed. And I'm like, removed? Removed from what? So I'm like, do I send this person a message or do I just let this just go? Because I knew from the very beginning that this wasn't gonna go well. It's like something told me, I'm like, I feel like you're using me. I'm just gonna be honest.
Yeah.
You're using me because I know all of these people and they're only coming on here because of me. They don't even know you. And as time progressed, like I said, I just got the book. It's been 3 years later. And when I was following them, the same show that we created together has a bookstore now. And I'm like, oh, you just doing real big things. And like, I just don't understand. So I just came to the realization. So now I'm really particular with who I work with just in general. Just because of that bad experience, I don't want to like prejudge anybody else. But that one experience, it was just like, I don't know, I'm nervous because you just literally stole my likeness and all of this. And once I ended up not being on the show anymore, one of the authors that I had coming onto the show, I had to reach out to them and I'm like, did you get a chance to be on the show? And she was like, no. I'm like, see, I knew it was a catch. I knew it was a catch. So, yeah, I don't
It always
recommend.
comes to light, though. That's the thing. That's what my mama always told me. What's done in the dark will come to the light. And another thing about listening, that uneasy feeling, like my thing is I like words of affirmation. That's my love language all day long. Like I don't really mean. Hang on, there's a plane flying over the house. Can you hear it? Can you hear that?
Not
Come on. Okay, it's gone. Dang, what was I gonna say now? What were we just talking about? Oh, the uneasy feeling, right? And so for me, it's like I like words of affirmation. I don't really need people's validation, but I like it every now and then. It's just my love language, right? I've accepted that.
right.
And so, but I always be like a little iffy about people who like will gas me up a little too much. Oh, you're so good, or you're so good. Hold up. Now, what do you want? I feel like sometimes people are really good at, buttering you up before they ask you for something, especially as a publisher and especially as an author. I stopped letting people pick my brain for free because you're not about to sit here and praise me and hype me up and then we're working on something and then it falls apart because you didn't do your part and you just got this whole thing for free. Anyways, anyway, are you still there? You're frozen. Let's see. Let's try to get her up again. All right, we restarted it. Oh, Maybe she will come back. Anyways, you guys, what I was saying is I could totally relate. And that's the thing, even just with being human, and especially an author, you absolutely have to set your boundaries. You absolutely have to, trust your gut. Some people, they do not mean harm, but some people are not coming to you with good intentions. I know one of the things that my authors will tell me is, "Oh, Aurelia, so and so is asking me about how do I publish a book," or they're asking me, is she back? They're asking me, can I send them your information, things like that. And I always tell them, yeah, but I always tell them, do me a favor and fill that person out first. Because as a publisher, as a solopreneur, my time is of the essence. And so it's like, I want to make sure that I'm working with people who also have aligned values. We have similar values when it comes to our one main goal, and that is publishing books. And so that's really important to me. Let's see if we can get her back on. I'm not sure what happened. She had froze and then had gotten off. I'm gonna keep talking just in case she's watching this, and tell her to get back on, girl, because we were just getting into a really good conversation. But y'all, and bear with us, because you know what? This is the thing that a lot of black authors, African authors experience in the book publishing industry. But what can you really expect when only 4% of the book publishing industry is has executive leaders that are black? Come on, what do you think that you're gonna get? And so, it's not a surprise about these experiences, but it's really unfortunate. And so I'm glad we were able to get you back on. Were you able to catch any of that?
I caught a little.
Okay. And so what I was saying when you were getting off is just, I was really just warning authors, to trust their gut, because a lot of times people will gas you up, and the whole time they're playing in your face, and they have an agenda that you might not be aware of. But sometimes our intuition, people call it an inkling, intuition, the Holy Ghost, whatever you want to call it. Listen,
Right.
because it can save you. I used to be like a curious, what is it? Curiosity killed the cat. That would be me. I would
A
be so
curious
curious
cat.
that I'm just like, oh, let's see how it goes. Let's see what happens. The whole time I'm like, my body is physically anxious. Like, okay, wait, I'm not normally anxious about stuff. So it would be like letting me know. And so I was just wrapping it up by saying, of course, sometimes even as a black author, what I mean, really, like, what do we expect? And it's unfortunate, and people might disagree with me, but when the book publishing industry is not a good representative of the global population, then what can you expect? And so this is why I'm like, I gotta do well as a book publishing company, because I want to give more people, okay, I want to give more people the opportunity to publish their books, okay? And I'm just going to say it like that. And so, anyways, thoughts.
I definitely agree with that. I'm not quite sure, you probably do, in regards to what has been going on with Amazon. I believe they made some changes to their policy in regards to, first of all, we're already underpaid. Sorry. We're
Mm,
underpaid in
mhm,
as authors. But my question is, which it will always be, is everyone underpaid, or is it just Black authors that's underpaid? I always pay
mm,
very close attention to certain areas, because it's like every time we get a chance to do anything on our own, the rules always change. And it's like, well,
mm,
you had every ample amount of time to change this before I decided to do it. Now, all of a sudden, that we're all doing it and we're teaching each other how to do it, or however we're getting it done, now it's a problem. So I don't really like understand that. Or in regards to like our books being printed. So if you order my book, you'll get it in a timely fashion. If I order my book, it's going to
Yeah.
take 2 to 3 weeks. I don't understand what's the difference. If you have to print it to give it to a customer, you still, I don't understand that. And of
Yeah.
course, like I said, I will question if it doesn't make sense. And I've asked them, of course, you're not going to get a direct answer, but it's like,
Mhm.
what is it that, what's the problem? Are you doing this to everybody, or are you just doing it to me?
Mm. Mhm. Yeah, yeah, and it's sad that we have to think that way, but it is what it is. This is the country, the world that we live in, where you're wondering, like, dang, who else is experiencing this? Who else is going through this? Um,
Exactly.
and I don't know. And so, if someone's watching this on the replay, leave a comment and let us know if you're what you're experiencing as a Black author and how it's going. And even out, shoot, even if you ain't Black, let us know how it's going,
Exactly.
and let's have these real conversations, okay, yeah, and that's, and maybe that is why people publish so many books, so that way, you maybe if you got 50 books out, then you'll be able to make a decent living. I know, what's his name, Walter Mosley, he has 34 books out, but we
Hmm.
probably only know about 5 or 6 of them, really. And it's like,
Yep.
dang, what? That's crazy to me. Like, I didn't even know that. I was like watching a master class, and he was like, yeah, I got 34 books out. He was all humble about it. I'm thinking, okay, wow. And I'm like, but he chooses to talk about one, what is it? The Devil in the Blue Dress. I think that's
Hmm.
what book he was talking about. And so I was like, wow, I had no idea he had written that many books,
Right.
but that's the thing. It's like, if someone of his stature has to write that many books in order to make a decent living, and he's under a publishing company, and I think he even said he might have self, I don't remember what he said, but I'm thinking, dang, bro, you had to do that many and to just get straight. But I also think, like, the money is part of it, but I also want to talk kind of about the skill set, because one of the things that an author had asked me was, "Oh, Aurelia, what's your take on this? Like, why do like should authors write their work and sit on it, and if they're looking to go the traditional route, like just sit on it and you know and shop around with a book?" And I'm thinking, no, because I'm assuming that if someone is writing a book, then maybe they're a writer, and as a writer, or even someone who's a creative person, they're always going to have books to write. So I'm like, why
Yep.
would you want to sit on it? Write the book and get it out there. If you can't find a publishing company to accept you, know that you can self-publish it. So get the book out there, so that way you can make room for another story to come in, and you can write that one. And so I would absolutely would not do that. I would keep going. And so, and what I know with my own experience as an author is, I get better as I go. I don't even talk
Exactly.
about the first book that I put out because it was trash. I didn't even have an editor. I just was like, I'm gonna do it. And I did it. And then I seen like 3 reviews talking about typos. Oh girl, I unpublished that book so fast, and went back and looked. I was like, oh, I sure did publish it at 3 a.m. And it looks like I published it at 3 a.m. It was terrible. But I want to say that over time, with each book, it's like your skills get
Yep.
better. Has that been your experience, or can you tell us about that?
Well, from my very first book, Dear Diary, to my latest book that comes out June 19th, A Sacred Place, I've
Mm.
gotten much better, way better.
Yeah.
The word count has gotten better. It's like where you think you're talking too much and it's you not talking enough. So I've finally gotten to that point. It's like I don't like books that
Mhm.
drag because I'm a big reader myself. So if I'm reading a book and it's
Mhm.
dragging, I'm not going to read it. I'm not going to give you a bad
Yeah.
review either. I'm just not going to read your book. So for me, I felt like I was writing too much due to I didn't have a consistent editor when I first started, due to me doing the traditional publishing. So everything was done for me. And then as time progressed, I was just bouncing around from editor to editor. And you get one editor to say this, and then you got a different editor that says this is right. And then you thinking back to what the last editor said, and it gets too much. So now with the 22nd book and getting that one back, and I'm just like, I didn't have as many errors as I used to have. So that's an accomplishment for me. Most people don't look at it as that, but it's actually good. As you keep going, you just have to just keep practicing. You don't have to force the books. Even if you do write something and you got to sit on it, maybe that book wasn't meant to be written right now, but I know if this is meant for you, you'll come up with something else.
Yeah. Yeah, no, that's solid advice. That's solid advice. And so, okay, wait, June 19th. What's this book about? You just subtly put it in there. So
I know, right? I stuck it in there.
Called?
It's called A Sacred Place.
A Sacred Place. Okay.
So I remember when I came up with the title, this was back in either 2019, back around the pandemic time. I started it. I stopped. I started it again. I stopped. And I'm just like, no, this is not fitting. I'm not understanding what I knew what I wanted to do, but it just wasn't coming out right on paper. And something sparked last year. Well, a lot sparked because I finished my 21st book last year and then ended up being able to finish my 22nd book as well. And it's about some teens. So they're young. It's urban fiction, of course, and they live in an urban area, going through life at a young age, trying to understand different things. So it's based in 2011. So it's not current time. So if you can go back to 2011 and think about all the things that were going on then, some people still had CD players, Facebook just came out, MySpace, all of those different things. So it takes you back into a time capsule. So once I finally finished that book, and I'm like, that's exactly what I was trying to do. And so I'm super excited for this one. Like I said, this is the book. I always say that, but this one's the one.
This one is it.
This one is it.
I love that. I love that. Okay. Well, any last words? This has been a great conversation. Thank you so much for your time. Any closing words? Where can we find you?
You can find me on Instagram under only one Annie B. You can find me on TikTok. TikTok is my place. I love TikTok. That one is Annie B _penning. Twitter. Don't look for me on Facebook. I get on there and I get off.
Really? Okay.
I don't know what it is about Facebook, but it don't have that same feel that it used to once have. So it's just like, nah. Instagram is slowly getting to that point too, but I love Twitter and definitely TikTok.
Yeah. TikTok, they be showing me love. I be like looking at some of my old videos. I'm like, oh dang, it's up to 1,000. What? That same video barely has 46 views on Instagram. I'm like, Instagram be hating on me, but TikTok loves me. So
that's exactly how I feel. I'm like, y'all actually like me on here, but then again, you got to think about the algorithm. That's what's hindering us on Instagram as well as Facebook now. And then probably Twitter too, but TikTok so far hasn't. Well, I slightly get shadow banned because I won't pay for my followers. So I do get slightly shadow banned in certain areas because I can tell like one video will do all these views and then all of a sudden it'll only be a few views. And I'm just like, I see what y'all doing, but I'm going to just keep going.
Yeah, keep going. Yeah, I've been like, and ever since people started paying for the little blue check mark on Instagram, I'm like, dang. I used to like after I would post something, maybe wait an hour and people would see it and like it or comment or whatever. Now I'm like, dang, can people still see me? Y'all still see me on here? It's like, dang, I don't even know. But I'm gonna keep going. I'm gonna keep trying it because they're always updating the algorithm. Instagram will wake up and see, hey, people hate what you're doing. They hate it. They hate the new algorithm. They don't want you to post your stuff from TikTok. Well, that just makes it
Nope.
so much harder. They should make it easy for creators to get on their platform and create. It doesn't matter if
Nope.
you're recycling your stuff. At least people are on the platform. We can't Instagram, y'all can't be picky, okay? You're gonna get
No.
this recycled content from TikTok, and that's what it is.
Exactly.
Okay. Anyways, wow. Okay, this was wonderful. Any final words? I know I said that already. Any final words?
Final words. Just keep going. Keep
Yeah.
going no matter how hard it gets, no matter how hard you're being on yourself. Also give yourself grace because if you start it, you'll finish. It just takes
Yeah.
time.
Yeah, it just takes time. All right. Well, thank you so much. I will be back next week with another author interview, and it is my birthday month. So after that one, I am taking the rest of the month off. I will be back in June with more book talk. And so y'all stay tuned for that. All right. Thank you so much. Have a good night.
You too. Good night.
Hey.
Bye.